All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Jason at 4 for now. For now, you're going to have to see this wood background for Monday. By Tuesday, I should have my green screen in here, and I don't need the big post holding it up anymore. I can just tack the actual material right to the wall behind me. It'll be great. So, yeah, I'm going to try to get through these videos really quick today because as I'm talking, my little tiny video that was 4 minutes long is uploading because I'm using my phone tethered. Not exactly screaming along. So I'm going to try to keep this quick. Wolf Richter, wolfstreet.com. These job trends in Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area will hit real estate, the economy, and municipal budgets and hype. Municipal budgets and hype. Interesting. An ugly red flag for all of California goes up. And I want to tell you now, before I start reading this, it was months ago. Jason at 4 video. What the hell are you doing in California? Get the hell out of there. Leave California. Get out of there. I can't see this getting any better for California. But if you're in a position right now where you say, oh, no, we're fine, we're good, even with the high everything, and I can't leave because I don't have a job to go to, I understand. But if you've been made an opportunity like, hey, I can actually work from home or something, so in that case, we're going to leave, have a look at Texas and Florida. You can come to Jason at 4 land over here in Florida. But I understand. Sometimes you just can't. You just can't. And I understand that. The labor force in California, and by the way, real quick, I don't know how my voice sounds because I can kind of tell it's a little bit echoey since there's not really anything in here. I do plan on getting a little bit of furniture in here, putting up some of those things on the wall that help absorb, sound. I'll be dealing with that, so I don't know if this is annoying to you or not, but I, appreciate if you would just deal with it for a few days. The labor force in California fell by 19,900 in June from May on a seasonally adjusted basis. The second month in a row of declines. Non-farm employment fell by 21,300. When was the last time when the labor force and employment fell in that period? Take a wild guess. You know what I'm going to say. Last recession, 2009. And again, we see these numbers that say recession. We're right in the middle of a recession, but Wall Street hasn't moved. It's gone up, as a matter of fact. So there's no stock market crash. Interesting. Yet the outcome appears to be the same right now. And it's this again from the auto apocalypse to retail apocalypse that's happening right now. The California Employment Development Department also reported on Friday that year over year, the labor force still rose by 52,600 and employment by 198,000. That looks like a lot, but it was the smallest increase, by the way, for any year over year period since August 2011. This is an early red flag, but it looks pretty good compared to what is transpiring in the San Francisco Bay Area. By some measures, there are 9 counties in the Bay Area. We'll look at 6 counties that are part of the tech jobs machine of San Francisco and Silicon Valley. In San Francisco, non-farm employment dropped to 542,100 jobs in June. This is the number of people working in San Francisco regardless of where they live, including the many who commute from other areas. This was down 5,100 from the employment peak in December and the lowest since June of 2016. The labor force, the number of people who live in San Francisco and are deemed to be in the labor force, was 559,800, up just 1,800 year over year. The chart below, which I'm not going to show you right now, shows the stunning employment boom that created 131,000 jobs from the beginning of 2010 through the end of 2016 and has come to a screeching halt. Which let's go ahead and take a look at that now. You can see a big gap in the beginning, wider gap, which is good because it's, a lot of jobs being created, and then it's getting smaller, 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 smaller. Not exactly good. Over the 7 years of that boom, employment increased by 31.6%. Employers in the city created an average of 18,800 jobs per year. But for the 12-month period through June, employers created only 3,400 jobs. the slowest 12-month gain since April 2011. The chart below shows that, shows the rolling 12-month employment gains, which is the, well, let's take a look at it while I talk. Where was I? The chart below shows the rolling 12-month employment gains, blue, and losses, red, since January of 2009. Note the trend from the job creation peak in the fall of 2014. For better visibly, I just marked it in brown, which is way down here, which, that's 2017 though. Whatever. If you just look, oh yeah, in red, he's actually marked the red part in October 2014. This is not a one-off. Right, if you look over here, up, down, and then you have this long length of time of just downward, what I'm going to call filth. San Mateo County, just south of San Fran, on the peninsula, is part of Silicon Valley. Given the heated rhetoric about Silicon Valley, the place should be hopping. Alas, the workforce in June at 448,400 was up only 800 souls from a year ago. The number of jobs in June fell 4,200 from the peak in December of in the peak in December to 435,300, the lowest number since June 2016 and barely above March 2016 at that. Only 2,100 jobs were created in the 12-month period, the lowest increase since the Great Recession of 08 and 9. Santa Clara County is the heart of Silicon Valley. It encompasses San Jose, Santa Clara, Sunnyvale, Palo Alto, and many other hotspots with tech giants. Yet the labor force dropped by 6,600 year over year to just over a million, and employment fell to also just over a million, down 2,000 from June 2016. The chart looks the same, so I'm not even going to show it to you again. The chart below shows what has happened to the hiring boom in the largest county in the Bay Area since the Great Recession. It's the same chart pretty much. The first red column has appeared, indicating the loss of 2,000 jobs over the 12-month period. In Alameda County, home of Oakland, Berkeley, and many other East Bay cities, employment fell to 803,600 in June. That's down 7,300 jobs from the peak in December of 2016 and the lowest since June 2016. The labor force at 836,900 was also down 8,100 from the peak in October 2016 and was down a smidgen year over year. What else do we got? Employers in Alameda County created 134,000 jobs from 2010 through 2016, an increase of 19% over 7 years, or on average 19,000 jobs per year. But in June, the 12-month increase was only 2,900. Which is, by the way, the lowest since January of, I was about to say you guessed it, but not quite, not 2008 and 9, just a couple years later when we were still in deep into recovery mode, 2011, and that's close enough for me. The Contra Costa County in East Bay, the labor force at 555,000 was down year over year, and employment fell to 532,000, down nearly 5,000 from the peak back in December. So again, this is all these different counties, all the same October, November, December timeline. And this is also, hey, Trump won. Market route. Remember the Trump train. Get on the Trump train, baby. And Ford's going to stay, and the air conditioning company, remember that one? They're going to stay. And then we found out recently, kind of sort of on second thought, all right, hold on. I just lost my train of thought as I'm kind of looking at you in the camera. Right there's the window, so I can kind of look like I'm looking at the camera, but I'm looking out the window. I can see my neighbors, across our fence. They have a house, and it looks like a mother-in-law suite was created afterwards. And I seen a lady over there a couple of times. It's, hey, neighbor. And, she said that to me, and I waved, hi, we'll come see you when we get settled in and introduce ourselves. So I just saw someone leaving the house, the mother-in-law suite, carrying something on the back. I'm like, what the hell has he got? Has he got a freaking beaver on his back? What the hell is that? Big fat beaver. What the? some guy leaving there. Completely threw me off. Completely threw me off, and I don't even know what I was talking about other than, whatever. So we're just going to go ahead and where my train of thought was, we're skipping that, and we're going to stop and continue here. Employment inched up by 1,900 jobs year over year, the lowest employment growth since the Great Recession again. In Marion County, across the Golden Gate, just north of San Francisco, total employment dropped to 135,800, about where it had been in July of 2015. The labor force, at 140,200, was back where it had been in February of 2016. Again, so if Donald Trump came in, he's trying to, make, quote unquote, make America great again. Let's bring the jobs back. And the same trend is continuing. Nothing has changed. And I don't fault the man. I do not fault the president. This is way out of his control. It's way out of his hands. But he was trying. Let me work with this company. We got to do tax breaks for everybody. Let's get that going so the jobs come back. And maybe if he can finally get the legislation passed, they'll come back. Except you've seen recently, Obamacare. We're going to try it again. Nope. The Senate, the Republicans don't have the votes after all. Yeah, we do. No, we don't. So what did he say? Just let it implode. We can't get a replacement or repeal. Let it implode. Remember, they were saying he needed to get the repeal and replace done because as part of the repealing process and the replacing, they work together so that when the tax cuts he wants to do come, it already shaved $1 trillion out of the healthcare thing somehow. But it was critical that got repealed and replaced first in order for the tax plan to make sense and actually work properly. Allegedly, that's what I remember reading early on. So I don't know that we're going to see any kind of tax anything in the near future, but I'd love to see breaking news. They finally did something with Obamacare, got rid of it, repealed and replaced it. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, I told you next up is tax reform, which would be great. And then, hey, here's the new deal, which would be great for all of us. But anyway, so I'm going to stop at this point. You get the point. We're seeing the same trend going down. We didn't see these numbers since when? Great Recession, which means we must be in another Great Recession as I speak. Except the markets are rallying. They're not crashing this time. My goodness. And we didn't have a housing bust first. But you see what happened with housing prices right now when you see the crazy rent. So, I would guess, anyways, that housing's going to come back down. I've been saying this all year long. It has to. The government needs it to anyways because I know that they know. I just thought of something, Eddie Murphy. I know that you. Hey, Norton, I've been watching you, Norton. Eddie Murphy, stand up. But anyways, the government know. I know that they know that the housing has to crash, and they need it to, and they know they need it to, because if the housing market crashes, housing becomes affordable again, rents become affordable again, which means people have discretionary spending again, extra money to go buy stuff and quote unquote stimulate the economy. But since that's not happening, and the Fed seems hell-bent on just keeping everything propped up, everything being the housing and stock market and everything else, what the hell with it. Don't think this is going to end really, really, really well. Take care.